This tutorial is for 3rd grade, Module 7, Lesson 7. In Lesson 7, we will be working with shapes called tetrominoes. A tetramino is a shape that is made of 4 squares, as you can see in each of these pictures, and wherever squares meet, they share a side. So if, for example, these 2 squares would share this side. If I go down below, these 2 squares would share this side. So these are the 5 different configurations of tetrominoes, and we're going to use them to build rectangles. The first question says to use the tetrominoes to create 2 different rectangles. So a rectangle is a 4-sided figure with right angles. In order to do this, the students would cut out tetrominoes and arrange them on the grid until they form a rectangle. The key here is that they can cut out multiple copies of each type of tetramino, so you can use some of the shapes more than once. So here's one example of a rectangle you could make using tetrominoes. So I'm going to take the tetramino that is shaped like a square, and then on top of that, I'm going to stack the tetramino that has all 4 squares in a line, and next to that, I'm going to place the exact same copy of that shape. So I have 3 different shapes. They're all tetrominoes. When I put them together, they make a rectangle. Here's another example. I'm going to take the tetramino that is L-shaped, so it's still made up of 4 squares, and then I'm going to stack the same shape underneath it. So when I put those 2 shapes together, it forms a rectangle. The next problem says to use the tetrominoes to create 2 squares, each with an area of 36 square units, and we're to show those squares on the grid. So a couple of things we need to think about here. First of all, by area, the area of the square will be how many little squares make up the entire square, and we've learned through our study of area that if I take my length times my width, I'm going to get 36 square units. I also know that because we are working with squares, that my length and my width are the same number. So some number times itself will be 36. That's my clue that my length is 6 units and my width is 6 units, because that will give me an area of 36 square units. So I'm going to use that to guide me. I know that my square will have to be 6 units by 6 units. Now all I have to do is take my tetramino pieces and fit them inside this square. And I'll give you an example of what that might look like. So here's an example of one square I could make using the tetramino pieces, and I know it has an area of 36 square units because it's a 6 by 6 rectangle. Another way I can prove that it's 36 square units is looking at how many tetrominoes I actually used. So let's count them. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 different pieces. Each piece is made up of 4 squares, and 9 times 4 equals 36. So there's further proof that this square is made up of 36 square units.